As a Christmas we're having here for many, they say, well, it looks like every Christmas has been one, issue or the other. But this time around has been a peaceful Christmas in the country with no untoward issue concerning security. But something happened to the ATM machines. All through the 24 till this day, many automated teller machines refuse to dispense cash. And I'm hoping that the CBN and the banks will look into all of that. Now that the people are happy that the fight against terror is over, they got another terror, but this time with their banks. But I'm excited that Professor Midana has joined us now in our Abuja studios. Well, sorry about your navigation getting to our studios. We understand it was a bit of a problem getting there now. Well, good to have you, and Merry Christmas, Professor. Quickly, before we come back to Ken to finish his thought on the crisis in the PDP, because he highlighted that in the APC. Let's talk about the whistle-blowing policy of the government, which I'm quite sure came to you just as many Nigerians last week. What was your thinking when you heard the Minister for Finance talk about that policy that should be an aid to the fight against corruption?
Thank you, Suleiman, for having me. The issue of whistleblowing or Whistleblowers Act or the policy, actually there was a private member bill in the National Assembly, in the 7th Assembly precisely, that has to do with Whistleblowers Protection Act. And if you look at it, actually, it's a very good thing. But I'm looking at one thing. That is, I have not seen the draft of the federal government, but I think there are so many places we need to strengthen. And I think all these things is supposed to protect or to prevent crime, because the best way to tackle crime is not to allow it to be committed in the first place. If you look at it, I think it's a model we took from United States. If you look at it, in 1989, precisely April, there was a Whistleblower Protection Act established that came into effect. And even in 2012, they tried to strengthen it because there are a lot of lapses in protecting the whistleblowers. They tried in precisely October. The Barack Obama administration signed the Presidential Policy Directives, which is called PPD-19, which has to do with classified information. So I think I heard from, maybe I read on the online and other mediums that this very policy is subject to ratification by the National Assembly, where Nigerians can have opportunity to contribute to see how we can protect the blowers. There is a particular situation, or what I'm thinking about the incentives. If you don't give even the security agencies incentives, the policy can be something that can be manipulated. Why I say it can be manipulated, you can see some people that can maybe the security agencies can make an arrest, or they can have an information, which that information can be sent to a particular individual to come as a whistleblower. So what I'm thinking the federal government should do, we have to get the encryption method, and again we need to have the anonymous content software which can protect those whistleblowers.
I think it's an interesting aspect you just raised, which is very key here. Looking at we're talking about what you get as part of the recovered, proceed from that whistleblowing. And you say if the agencies fighting corruption or fighting such crime, if they're not taken into perspective, they just might be perhaps selling such information to someone else to act as a whistleblower. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. That is what I mean. Actually, those loopholes have to be blocked. Then you have to have some kind of incentive going to those investigative team or some of the people that are going to investigate those issues. So definitely, I think they are going to be fair if we have it maybe in the National Assembly so that public hearing can be conducted. And I think the federal government have to look at those legislation in the 7th Assembly. It was sponsored by a private member that either I think a senator or a House of Representative member, so that public can come and contribute so that we can have a kind of a robust whistleblowing system in Nigeria. If you look at it today, we have almost statistically 145 million GSM lines active, and we have to now look at how do we use such lines in terms of crime prevention. Then you have the statistic of people visiting Facebook, almost 30 million monthly. How do we use such things in crime prevention?
Now let me bring it down to Ken here in the studios. Now he's a member of the PDP and also a policy analyst, looking at this whistleblowing policy, which is very key. Don't worry, we'll also before we leave, I'll let you in on the PDP crisis. But on this one, do you think, listening to what Professor Medana has said, do you see a loophole in that policy already?
Well, if you talk of the whistleblower, we've always had that policy, just like when we say police informants. The police have always had those informants that they always use readily, that give them very key informations that they use to act and catch very notorious criminals, so to say. But you see, this policy has been such that it has not been very rewarding, especially for those informants.